Now, over the past couple of years, we have all witnessed what Kathleen Kennedy did to the Star Wars franchise, especially with The Last Jedi, by allowing director and writer Rian Johnson to do what he did with Luke Skywalker in the direction of the overall story, and how it really kind of messed up the whole momentum of the sequel trilogy movies, and how the fans were so motivated in the beginning, and really kind of lost that motivation of looking forward to new Star Wars films. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future Star Wars updates. I'm also on Twitter at Mike01. I thank you all so very much for the great and kind support. Now that brings us to another big thing that Kathleen Kennedy has been going through as of late. We know that she has a lot of setbacks related to the Acolyte and Skeleton Crew. Both productions, by the way, have been very much a difficult task for Kennedy, Headland, and even Watts, who are, really trying to get these two shows out as fast as they can, because they've gone through so many different delays. Now, the thing about all of this is that we know that John and Dave tried to fix a couple of scenes here and there for both Acolyte and Skeleton Crew. I don't think it's really going to make a dent in saving those two shows, but it's going to at least, make you realize that there's some differentials and tones here and there on some of the actual scenes in certain episodes of those shows coming out. Now, everything related to Kathleen Kennedy has been like mental gymnastics. We've seen this many times before in the past, where she'll apologize to the fandom, and then other times she'll revert and start really kind of putting the fans down and really treating them like that they're just expendable people, that she does not need them, and that she does not need hardcore fans or supporting fans, whatever have you. Now, with that being said, that brings us to what Kathleen Kennedy recently had to say about the Star Wars community and more. Now, with Kennedy having tons of trouble with the Acolyte and Skeleton Crew, and trying to work things out with those productions, she recently had something to say to the fandom directly regarding her goals and visions for the future of Star Wars. Now, Kathleen Kennedy went on to state the following in a recent interview. Myself and Leslie have seen all the negative energy being directed at our show, The Acolyte, and what frustrates us is that this just confirms that fans are not open to diversity and are unwilling to accept change in this franchise. Some of these fans are just so arrogant and only want the original vision by George Lucas, which in all honest and respect to Mr. Lucas, but it's obsolete and we need to focus on a new direction for Star Wars. The fans that constantly raise their opinions and present their criticism can get quite frustrating for a show over ours that has not even arrived on Disney Plus yet, and we are still working out the kinks with this show, as we are still filming and finding out how we can get this all together on time as scheduled now. So let me just stop here for 1 second before we get to the next thing that she says. So basically what she's saying is that anybody who likes George Lucas's work or admires his work or his vision of Star Wars, she views it as obsolete or as an old way of thinking about the franchise, and that it's overdone. I don't believe so at all in the slightest. I think that George is Star Wars. He is the father of Star Wars. He is the creator of everything that we love about the franchise. If it weren't for George, guys, we would not be standing here where we are today. Whether you like it or not, Star Wars is still in existence. But if it weren't for George, it wouldn't really be here. So, at the very least, because of George, we got some great things. I think that it's great that we got Mando Season 2 with Luke Skywalker's entrance in there, and how we got the Ahsoka series coming up with Mando Season 3. It's just, I'm very thankful for all of that. And Kathleen Kennedy seems to have no kind of appreciation at all whatsoever for George and what let's not forget this, George provided her a very big job and a very big income and a very big opportunity, and she just decided to completely backstab him and just disrespect him and really kind of lie to his face and really just cut off all these promises that were made. The list goes on and on, when you look at the whole dynamic and the grudge between George and Kathy, it is just beyond what we have ever seen in Hollywood and just in the film industry at large. Now, moving on to the next thing, alright, is that Kathleen Kennedy actually went on to elaborate by saying, of course, that the fans need to grow up. Now, the thing about that is, the fans don't need to grow up at all. We like the way things are when it comes to the fun stuff related to Star Wars. You don't have to necessarily make it, so serious all the time, or just so gritty to the point where it's ultra realistic to the real world. It's great to actually immerse yourself in a different galaxy far, far away. And that's what I like about Mando, that's what I'm gonna like about Ahsoka. Moving on. Now, separate from what Kennedy stated, behind the scenes, Kennedy is said to be very angry with the fans, also over the fact that the community's opinion about her ultimately led to Disney board members making a decision to let her go from Lucasfilm by this August, and have plans to replace her with producer David Heyman. Now, Kennedy is also angry with fans over the fact that she lost creative control over all other projects because of the fans' opinions. So let's just put that clear there, is that, yes, it was because of the fans that really cost Kathleen Kennedy's creative power and control over anything else Star Wars besides the Acolyte and Skeleton Crew. And you know what? I'm thankful for that. I like the fact that John and Dave now have this great freedom to do whatever they want to do, explore wherever they want to explore, and take whatever they want to take from Star Wars Legends. That's the great thing about them being detached from Kennedy's control. Now, of course, Disney's keeping things in motion secretly. They're having all these promotionals and BTS reels showing John and Dave smiling with Kathleen Kennedy and all that stuff. That's just all a part of keeping a good image intact. But behind closed doors, it's a very messy situation and scenario. It's not the greatest thing to be a part of right now if you are Kathleen Kennedy. So anyways, I think that the fans are in the right. Kathleen Kennedy is in the wrong. George Lucas is Star Wars and always will be Star Wars. And even when he's gone one day, you're gonna have people like John and Dave and other creators taking on his legacy properly and respecting it. And that's what matters right now, is how far will Star Wars really go, and how really, well will the legacy be kept. And that's what John and Dave are trying to make sure of. They want to keep the legacy intact. They're not just doing this to make it into a cash cow. They want to make sure that it's going to be very passionate, driven by them as creators and for the fans. And that's why I give them so much credit, because they really do a lot of hard work. They're working around the clock. These guys are working on over 12 projects. Put that into your mind there. That's a lot of work, guys. I mean, that's a lot of man hours to pour yourself into. So anyways, drop a comment below, guys. Let me know what you guys have to say about all of this below in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.
From night to moon, we hear them moans again. No.